The madness of Nietzsche, genius or insanity. There are lives that burn brighter than most, lives that flare like comets across the sky of history, brilliant and brief. One of those lives belongs to Friedrich Nietzsche, a man whose mind danced dangerously close to the edge of reason, a man whose words have echoed across generations, unsettling the comfortable and awakening the restless. But the question remains, was Nietzsche a genius ahead of his time? Or a soul consumed by madness? This is not merely a biography. This is a journey into the very heart of human thought and the shadow that often follows genius. Nietzsche was born in 1844 in a small town in Germany. From a young age, he was marked by brilliance. He was deeply introspective, passionate, and gifted with a mind that never stopped questioning. By the time he was 24, he had become a professor of philology, the youngest ever at the University of Basel. But Nietzsche was not destined to remain in the safe halls of academia. He would go on to become one of the most radical and challenging thinkers the world has ever seen. He challenged the very foundations of Western morality. He rejected the notion of objective truth. He proclaimed that God was dead, not in the literal sense, but as a statement about the collapse of traditional values in the modern world. He introduced concepts like the Übermensch, the overman, a future human who would rise beyond herd morality. He spoke of eternal recurrence, of living as though each moment would repeat for eternity. He reimagined human will as the will to power, a creative force that shapes our reality. These were not mere ideas. These were provocations. Nietzsche was not trying to make people comfortable. He wanted to wake them up, shake the foundations of how they saw the world and themselves. But brilliance has its cost. Nietzsche's health was fragile. His eyesight deteriorated. He suffered intense migraines and physical breakdowns. He lived much of his adult life in isolation, wandering from city to city, writing feverishly and thinking endlessly. He never married. He had few close friends, and he was often misunderstood. In 1889, while walking the streets of Turin, something happened. Witnessing a horse being beaten, Nietzsche reportedly threw his arms around the animal and collapsed in tears. From that moment on, he was never the same. He fell into silence, never writing another word. His mind slipped beyond the reach of reason. For the next 11 years, he remained under the care of his mother and sister, until his death in 1900. What caused his breakdown? Some say it was syphilis. Others suggest bipolar disorder, or even the unbearable pressure of living with a mind too intense for the world around him. Perhaps it was simply the fate of a man who stared too long into the abyss and felt it staring back. But here is where the story becomes more complicated. After his collapse, Nietzsche's sister Elizabeth took control of his work. She edited and twisted his writings to align with her own nationalist and authoritarian views. This manipulation led many to associate Nietzsche with ideologies he despised. In truth, Nietzsche rejected anti-Semitism, nationalism, and the herd mentality of mass movements. He valued individual strength, authenticity, and the courage to question everything. So, what do we make of him? Was he mad, or was he the only one truly awake? There is a fine line between genius and insanity. Those who push the boundaries of thought often pay a heavy price, They see what others refuse to see. They say what others dare not say. And sometimes the world is not ready for them. Nietzsche warned us that comfort can be a prison, that certainty can be a lie, that we must become who we truly are, even if that journey leads through darkness. To call Nietzsche insane is to ignore the uncomfortable truths he revealed. To call him a genius is to risk romanticizing his suffering. But perhaps he was both. A mind ablaze with vision, a soul cracked by intensity, a prophet in a world unwilling to listen. Maybe we fear Nietzsche not because he was mad, but because he might have been right. Subscribe to Depth and Logos for more explorations into philosophy, psychology, and the minds that shape our world.